no one has the answer. No one has the solution. No one's doing it perfectly. We all kind of have work to do.
This week in the salon, we had Stephanie Martel, and she is incredible. And I'm going to say that about all of my guests, because otherwise, why on earth would I have them on here? And for Stephanie, she was in charge of innovation for Champion. She's a designer and spent her time creating innovative products. I met her last year when she was taking a step back. It was one of those moments where you have a connection with someone, where you realize that they have a deeper level of understanding of systems and caring about others. She has 2 small children, a house, all the things, and she still wanted to try and keep moving forward in making this world a better place. And sustainability in the fashion industry and apparel was at the top of her list. So she went and enrolled at MIT, which is enough for me right there, because there's no way I'm going to an engineering school with 2 small children especially. And she decided to pursue her certificate in sustainability. And so in the midst of all of that, she carved out the time to sit with me, share with us where she's at in this journey and how she's going to use her new certificate and education to make a difference. So I hope you enjoy this conversation as much as I enjoyed having it.
Honestly, we all can learn from each other because we all have to approach it the same way, and the resilience of keep going.
Welcome back to the salon, where I create a space for conversations with people doing meaningful, creative work. I have the opportunity to speak with people every single day who are really making a difference in their communities, in their places of work, in and outside of their 9 to 5. And today, joining us is Stephanie Martel, and I had the pleasure of meeting her at a Clean Creatives event in New York City. I reached out to her on LinkedIn, and she followed up, and we connected. And I've been really interested in her journey ever since then. So, Stephanie, do you want to introduce yourself really quickly?
Sure. Thank you, Sarah, for inviting me and for having me.
Yeah.
My background is apparel design. I've been very lucky to work for a lot of different companies over the past 20 years, most recently at Champion, where I started as menswear designer and ended up leading global innovation and working with incredible people around the world to bring out some really exciting brand projects, some completely biodegradable sweatshirts and packaging, a weighted hoodie to kind of address mental health and anxiety, and some upcycle things, just, taking, instead of making from new things, making from waste. And currently I'm trying to keep going forward with that mission and focusing on sustainability as a way to drive positive change in the apparel industry.
That's awesome. And I feel like, so when I first met you about a year ago, I can't even remember how we connected on LinkedIn. I think we knew somebody mutually at Champion. I don't remember. But you were telling me about some of the cool things that you had done. Like, I think that you had said that you had designed like an interactive experience at one point.
Yeah. So innovation is like this broad term, right? And AI is everywhere right now. So I got and I remain deep in that space, just learning and seeing what's going on. And at the time, this is probably 2 or 3 years ago, I think, we were exploring all the different opportunities that AI could bring in terms of product and marketing. And we had an opportunity to work with a video game developer, and kind of at the nexus of AR, VR, XR. So just really immersive gameplay and what that would look like through a Champion lens.
That's so cool. And so what was your title? I can't remember. You had mentioned it before. Actually, let me say that again because I don't love that I said it that way. But what was your title at Champion? And then how did you get from point A to point B? What was your degree in? How did you get to your role at Champion? And then what I'm the most interested in hearing about is, I know that there was like a few things that maybe pushed you towards your decision to go and continue your education at MIT, but I'd love to hear the timeline of the process of how you got there.
My degree was, I just got a bachelor's in fashion design from Philadelphia University, and started out, on that path of creative design. I actually was really drawn to. I came at it more from really being good at drawing more so than sewing, and so my career trajectory has led me to places where I was manipulating imagery, mood boards, creative sketching. Um, at Champion, I started out, yeah, creative designer over athletics and performance. So the full, when you think Champion, what you're thinking of, the fleece, the workout, all of that. And then was given the incredible opportunity to lead global innovation. So from a global innovation designer standpoint, it meant partnering with the director of insights, the director of marketing, the director of um, consumer technology, every stakeholder across the company. How could we work together to move forward on what the brand meant and where we wanted it to go? An incredible role that I feel really lucky I got to be in for a long time.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And I think like for so many people when they get their degree in fashion, it's not common, I think, to land in that kind of role where you're combining both innovation and design and then the marketing side as well. So how did the marketing come into it?
Oh, marketing is critical because I, we had a couple different rounds of innovation teams at the company, and it's not for lack of people having great ideas. There's so many great ideas. It's when you work together with the great ideas and you bring in everyone else's insights that you can really kind of go farther. So I was lucky in my role in that I got very, very, very close to our head of brand marketing. And together we could craft the pitch that we could sell it internally and get all of the internal stakeholders on board to make that good idea right for everyone
Yeah.
within the organization. And then have all of the right tools to then sell it to the consumer and get the word out there of why we were doing this.
Yeah. How did that get you to where you are now? So now you are at MIT, which is arguably, in my mind, I don't think of creativity and fashion. When I think of MIT, I think of engineering and I don't know, engineering type things, not Vogue or something like that.
Absolutely. And I can tell you, my classmates are so impressive. They are engineers in municipal water systems and oil companies. And, their day to days are very different from my background. I'd say I stand out a little bit. But we're all there for the same reason. And it is hard. I'm not going to say it's not hard for me because um, anything with sustainability it is hard right now. It's
Yeah.
not an easy path to choose. No one has the answer. No one has the solution. No one's doing it perfectly. We all kind of have work to do to make it better, and it takes everyone. So it's great being with a bunch of people that feel the same way
Yeah.
and who are working at it in different industries. And honestly, we all can learn from each other because we all have to approach it the same way, and the resilience of keep going.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that you said that they're all so impressive because when I hear you talk about all the work that you've done, that's exactly what I think. I think that it's true because, we've talked about this before. It's hard to, you wake up with yourself every day and you have kids, and kids are the biggest, like, if you want to be humble, have a kid. In fact, if you want to be humble, have an 11 or a 12-year-old, and they're going to make you feel pretty normal pretty quick. But here you are, and you've done all these innovative things with Champion. You actually went on to design experiences and products. And then you took a huge leap of faith. And that is what I'm really curious about because you have two kids. How old are they again?
6 and 4.
6 and 4. Okay. And so you are a mom and you have a house to take care of. And how did you? I think it's so brave when people say, you know what, this opportunity is in front of me. It might not seem like the best fit for right now, or it might not make the most sense on my career trajectory. But the more people I talk to, and the most interesting people are the ones who kind of just say, you know what, I'm just going to go for it. So, what was that like for you? What took you to deciding to pursue this new path at MIT with two small kids and all the things that life throws at you?
Yeah, uh, Sarah, it was really, really a hard decision. Um, I knew that I had so many passions coming out of that role and so many options, quite frankly. I could lean into AI, I could lean into mental health, I could start my own product company. Or I could just, bounce into another sportswear role,
Yeah.
perceivably. And I've always felt really, really strongly about when you make something, make it well.
Yeah.
And I I knew that it needed whatever it was, sustainability, and not even a word that I feel so strongly about, but the idea of making a product better with responsible decisions was where I wanted to be. And I wanted to be better educated about it. And honestly, the reason I chose MIT because I wanted to be connected to people that knew more about the things I didn't, about
Yeah.
engineering, about math, and,
Yeah.
and connect with people that were smarter than me and see what I could learn. And financially, it was a crazy decision. I had to go into my 401k to get there, but I really, really felt for myself this was the right thing to do, but also for my kids. I wanted them to know that it's okay. First of all, it's important to keep learning, to always
Yeah.
keep learning, to push yourselves, to do the hard things. And when it's something you really feel strongly about, to go for it. And so honestly, it was them that made me decide to do this. I wanted
Yeah.
them to see mom doing something kind of hard.
Yeah. That's amazing. And then how did you get like a feeling in your gut? I'm always curious how people kind of those that take that leap of faith or those that say, you know what, I'm kind of done just making money for a company just to like clock in my hours. What does that feel like for you? I know, how did you like move past that fear? How did you like decide that it was worth it without really knowing what's going to look like at the end?
Well, I'm hoping I get back there because I can tell you I miss I miss being with a team. I miss having a very defined goal. There's kind
Yeah.
of a lot of it. I love the autonomy of moving forward how I am. Don't get me wrong, but it can be really tiring to kind of have to keep being the one setting the goals and then reaching them and setting and reaching them. When you're with a team and you have people who say, "Yeah, you know what? We all feel good about this one. That is the right goal." That's really you don't realize it when you're in it, but it's something when you don't have it, you miss it, I think.
Oh, I know. You're 100% right. I think that was part of what made me want to continue reaching back out to these people that I meet who are doing things like this because I like that idea of not of being on a team, of not even the goal part for me, but just the conversations that you have when you're working with other people and their ideas. And I think I missed the interaction with other people too. And, COVID took that away, and then so many people just kind of stayed at home that I think we were missing out on meeting really interesting people
Yeah,
and doing really interesting things.
yeah. I had a president. I was at Victorinox. This is many years ago, but he said something that's always stuck with me in that the best team has the most tension. And
Oh,
it's
I
a little
like
bit
that.
counterintuitive because you think,
Yeah.
well, if I don't agree with them, how are we a good team? But the friction of ideas produces stronger ideas because they've kind of been checked, and you have someone who's kind of pushing back and being your ping pong partner.
Yeah.
Um, and it's interesting. So yeah, it's nice to have someone that does that bounces the ball back with you.
Yeah. So, in your classes, how much time do you have left, or how many more classes do you have left to take?
I've got three more courses. I'm midway of number two right now. I'll finish up in February. But I'm in my groove now. I feel much better about it. The first one was hard, and
Yeah.
this one I'm like, okay, I can do this. It's achievable.
Yeah.
It's all about scheduling it in.
Yeah. And I do love that you mentioned that you did dip into your 401k because I think that a lot of people see someone like you or even like or anyone that's doing something outside of like the norm and they just think, well, they must just have a really big savings account or their spouse makes money or something. I mean, you just start to really go through all the reasons why they can do it and you can't. But it really truly is. You're just finding a way to do it because you feel so strongly about it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I I think that's really brave. And I wonder too, like if what would you say to someone that's kind of in the same spot where you are, that they're sort of at like a career crossroads and the timing maybe isn't perfect as far as from the outside looking in, and when you've got a mortgage and kids and they've got a college education coming up too and all the things.
yeah. Um, I mean, I think it's a little bit cliche, but they say the timing's never right. You can always think of a reason not to do something, but
Yeah.
we only have one life. And, if you really ask yourself, what can I bring to the world? What am I here for? What do I want to achieve? How can I help? If, whatever the way you phrase your questions are, it, it's not going to be easy, you know?
Yeah.
It's gonna be something that only you can find the way to climb that mountain, and it might be really hard, but you will learn a lot from it being hard. Anytime in my life when I've done something that scares me, it's the those are the times that teach me the most. Those are the times that open new doors that kind of help reaffirm why I'm doing what I'm doing. If it was easy, it would be boring,
Yeah.
and that yeah,
It would be boring. That is true too. But so, sometimes boring isn't terrible when you need a break in between. But I think you're right. I definitely think there's the type of person who's like, I could just do that. Or I just think there's something more out there. And I feel like you're one of those people where you just feel like you can just sort of take something and make it a little bit better and then make that a little bit better.
I hope so. I really do hope to keep pushing as long as I can and keep finding ways to make it better. I feel like that's my purpose. My reason is to do what I can to make things better.
Yeah. And you show up.
I try, yeah. I mean, honestly, that is though, showing up is sometimes the hardest thing. It's, you know, can you get out the door at 5 a.m. for the run? If you get out the door, you've done it. It's
Yeah.
very easy to stay in bed. It's very easy to put it off. It's if you take the step, if you show up, you've really almost won the battle.
I think sometimes we get in our heads too about that, that imposter syndrome. Everyone talks about it. It's almost cliche to talk about, but it is so real. And I sense that in some ways you feel it a little bit too, even being in a classroom with, I'm assuming it's mostly men as well. I
You
could
know,
be wrong.
I thought it would be.
Yeah.
It's a really good mix.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of strong women and men in the course. Yeah,
That's great.
I'm working on an impact project, and it's actually in my impact project team. It's more females than males.
Really?
Yeah,
Well, that's encouraging. What's your impact project?
it is addressing microplastics and
Okay.
looking to solve through a municipal water structure how we could feasibly in America begin to filter microplastics out. Step one. And step two, then responsibly degrade them. Because what happens is you can pull them out, but if you don't do something with them, they will leach back through the soil right back into the water. So
Right.
it has to be a two-part process.
So how's that going?
It's exciting, and it's funny because the longer I do it, the more my algorithm and my phone sends me all these incredible TED Talks about high school students that are solving microplastic issues all around the world.
Oh,
And
that's
it's
awesome.
very encouraging. Yeah.
How are your kids doing? How are you keeping them busy this summer
Uh,
while going to school?
so, you know, not having that 9 to 5 opens up a great opportunity to kind of be more present with them. And, that's something that I'm trying to really invest in and be there with them and do more with them. It's not easy because there's the side of you that's like, I need to be spending 4 hours a day doing X and doing networking. And, like you're balancing and it's hard, but it is a gift to be able to invest time with them. And we actually took 3 weeks and spent 3 weeks with my parents and got a lot of grandma and grandpa time and doing things like camping. And, my dad taught them how to fish and
That's cool.
how to, which berries are safe to pick and eat and which leaves and which flowers to eat. And, some stuff that I wasn't going to try, but we got the kids into it, which they loved.
Where'd you go?
Special. I'm from Ohio. So we started in Cleveland and then we did a road trip to Missouri through Route 66 and just kind of
Cool.
11-hour drive, stopping along the way because there's a nest of insects growing in the tree and laying eggs. And so pull off the highway, nest of insects. 4 miles later, pull off the highway. There's a dead armadillo on the road. Let's check it out. It's a long drive, but we saw it all.
You saw an armadillo on Route 66?
I guess there's a lot of them there. It was on the side of the road. It was the
Where
biggest
at?
armadillo I've ever seen.
In Missouri?
Hmm.
I had no idea they had armadillos there.
I didn't either. It was very cool looking, although it was very sad because it was run over. But it was
That is sad, yeah.
yeah. My kids loved it. The boys, that's the coolest thing they saw all summer.
I mean, besides the fact that I had passed on, it is pretty cool seeing armadillo.
Yeah. Yeah. We
Yeah.
don't have those in Brooklyn.
No. Well, no. I mean, maybe. You just don't know about it. And it's probably in someone's house.
That's true. There's probably some armadillos in Brooklyn, but
Yeah, there could
not
be.
in the
But I
wild.
mean, no, not at all. Hi, thanks for listening and for joining the salon. Next week, you're going to have the best time meeting my friend Laura Ronzato. So make sure that you subscribe and that you are tuned in because she has some great stories to share. I think you're going to leave the conversation feeling a little bit more hopeful about the state of the world. Now, let's get back to our conversation with Stephanie. So you guys, so you're back in the city now.
Back in the city. Yeah, they're at YMCA camp and we're back gearing up for school. It's
Yeah.
a countdown.
So then are you in class? When's your next class start? Did you go all through the summer?
All through the summer. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
there was a 3-week break. I'm back in now on a systems infrastructure design course.
Right.
And I'm also consulting. I'm doing some AI marketing for
Cool.
a bridal company, which is very fun twist and complement to my sustainable design pursuits.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Beautiful company, and it's such a beautiful product. And I'm just kind of helping the owner tell her story. She's got
I
a
love that.
really great program of mix and match separates, which
Oh, that's
is
cool.
practical for women nowadays to be able to, have a look that kind of morphs through the night, but not, buying 5 different gowns.
That's really cool.
And just also kind of customize it. You don't have to buy off the rack. You can kind of make it your look, which is really nice.
Yeah. So is it fun to kind of get back into the fashion side of things again, just for a moment?
Yes, especially as the math ramps up. I'm excited to have a little bit of my creative brain being exercised too.
Yeah, I know, because it's so much math. I
I'm
just
telling you, these equations had, the Greek letters with the negative numerals, and I hadn't seen it since I took calculus in high school, and it was the last time I saw those kind of equations.
You're a true Renaissance woman, I feel like you can do, because I am so not able to do that. Like I look at a math equation and my brain is just like, you know what? That's not going to work for us. But you can do both. That's really impressive.
ChatGPT helped me for sure.
Okay.
I had to be like, what is this one? What is it called? How do I use it? Tell me.
Okay, that's an actually even better tip.
Oh,
So you put in your equation
how
and
do
you're like,
people
tell me how
do
to
it?
do this.
I don't know how people did it without that. It's so helpful.
Okay. That's good. I didn't even think about that. I use ChatGPT for everything.
They do have a new student version. I saw that kind of doesn't give you the answer right away. It teaches you how to get there. I haven't tried
Oh,
it
that's
yet, but
cool.
that's next on my list.
Well, yeah, I mean, you should know. I like that. I'm not going to tell my kids about it, but I do like the idea of it.
Well, it's designed to help kids learn the process, not just the answer.
Right. But I feel like sometimes, like the school, I don't know, the process that they teach them is also, I need the ChatGPT to explain the process that the school is asking them to go through
I
as
agree on
well.
that. Yeah, yeah, uh, yeah. Hard stuff.
It is hard stuff.
The first grade
So,
math can be just as hard as this MIT stuff.
well, they have you break it all apart and put it back together. And I actually appreciate it because that is how my brain works. But yeah, it's hard when your kid is like, I just really want to do it my way. And then they have to show their work. And some things I guess don't change. But I am going to look into that because Claire is going into sixth grade and math is about to get a lot harder.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Wow,
Yeah. Yeah. I know, right? Is that crazy?
that is crazy. Sixth grade. That's not, it's, no, it's not. It's middle school, right? Junior high?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa.
I know. I'm not ready at all, but she is, and I guess that's all that matters. So
It'll be great.
I'm glad to hear that you're doing some AI. Are you just doing consulting or are you actually using generative AI to create posts and things for social media? Is that what you said it was?
Yeah, yeah. Images, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Honestly, it feeds off what I was doing with the video game at Champion. Really learning the generative AI for images, I think, is all about your prompt and your words and
Yeah.
really having an understanding of how to describe something.
Yep.
And when I was building this brand world, the Champion, it was all about describing a whole environment, really practicing that, really practicing your words. And I'm getting to use that again now in a more focused way, which is fun.
That is cool. So you had to create because you're having to describe what you're creating to stakeholders.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. It didn't exist yet.
Well, and not only that, but feeds something that there weren't images to go off. This was completely creative development, and so getting something that then could be shared with uh, video game designers
Yeah.
to base their work off of was like a mood board, but in a visual way. Like there were no example photos; it had to be created.
Yeah. Yeah. That is really cool. I can see how you would be using your imagination then to even when you are bringing that to these sustainability projects, seeing how where the end is that doesn't even exist yet.
Yeah, I mean, and there is, I mean, I can think the way I've been thinking about sustainable goals right now is there's a lot of talk of like net zero and getting
Yeah.
down to nothing, in the sense that okay, we're not using more carbon than can be replenished, and the whole net zero thing seems to me like we're not reaching high enough, and I know it's hard enough just to get there, but
Yeah.
there's a couple case studies we've looked at where people are pushing for more, and they're actually designing to put net positive gains, like actually not just reach zero, but go further and make impacts that then better the world that they found it. And I love that. I find that so inspirational to push further, um, and keep going, and but try for even harder things.
Yeah.
I guess I do that.
But we need people like that, right? Especially right now. What are the conversations like in the classroom right now? What are you hearing? What are you seeing, when it comes to this type of work and then watching the EPA get cut and, how is that? Does it matter? Are companies saying, you know what, we're going to continue to work towards sustainability? Like, what are you seeing in the industry right now?
It's I mean, it's very much a A tough time. I have a really good mentor who like warned me, this is
Yeah.
gonna be tough. Yeah, this is going to be tough right now, and it's gotten there, and people are feeling it. I've had friends, teams get slashed. I've had friends who've needed to slash their teams, and budgets rolled back. Things are changing. The EU is changing, pulling back. Everything's dialing back, and so the conversations are, you know, you got people trying to cheer other people up. You've got people, everyone's feeling down. Um, there's some people who are veering more optimist in the face of all the, I think, struggle and challenge. And then there's people who are feeling abandoned and just, giving up. And
Yeah.
the, I'm choosing the path of optimism because a lot of when the noise dies down, opportunity, the need is still there. And the
Yeah.
opportunity is just, all right, let's reframe. We know there's things that really haven't worked. They're not working for everyone, and that's why there's pushback. So it's like that ping pong. How do you take this opportunity to not put down the paddle, but hit it back with something that's going to get the other team to play? How do you keep going so that we can all keep making progress on these issues? Um, and there's a lot of good hope. I mean, the EPR regulations are they're going to happen, and they're going to really be transformative. And everything I'm doing is just being a part of that conversation so that brands and products are ready for when that comes. And a lot of
Yeah.
people are still kind of not getting ready for it, not ready to deal with it yet because it's not real, but it's going to come, and it's going to be something that really changes how everything's made.
You think so?
I know. I
I
know
like
it
that.
to be true. We need it.
Good. Yeah, we do. I mean, we can't keep going this way. That's good to hear, actually. I think sometimes, it's kind of a similar conversation we're having about AI and all of that too. Like, there are people who are, it's not perfect. There's certainly environmental issues with it, but, it's ready or not, it's going to be coming. So, what are some of the things that you think will be the most impactful to brands? And how do you see yourself at the end of all of this? Like, can you picture your role, like when you close your eyes and you imagine what that looks like? What are you kind of hoping for?
I don't know yet, but I know shorter term, what I'd love to do is be able to help designers get ready. I think so many designers have kind of gotten really comfortable in a very repetitive, pretty much not creative role.
Yeah.
The levers that they are able to pull are it's set in a box and get something ready for the next season. And there's this mentality, well, the customer won't pay for sustainability. They won't pay more. They won't pay more. And I think that that's 100% the wrong attitude. And I'd love to help designers find the confidence to just break that, throw it
Yeah.
away. It's not about what the consumer will pay for or not pay for. You're actually in control as the designer. You can change levers. You don't have to work with the same box that you've been stuck in. You can actually move things, and you can work with your business team, your marketing team. We can work inside your organization to really drive change. And I was able to do that at Champion, and I feel like I want to help other designers unlock that
Yeah.
and find their confidence to actually be creative and make the change. And they're going to need to, because companies need to let and embrace those designers that are ready to make those changes so that their products will be resilient and ready for the next wave.
Yeah. And just to be clear too, we're talking about the fashion designers in all of these brands.
Yes. Yes. I think that it applies to a lot of consumer goods. Um, but when I'm talking, I guess my background is apparel, and it's what I feel I know the most. So yeah.
Yeah. And I think when I heard that apparel is the number one polluter, I was shocked, especially now that we have the rise of Temu. That's not helping. What do you see? Like, I'm curious about that too. I can't, it's funny because it's become a joke now. My Claire went to summer camp, my daughter, a couple weeks ago, and she did not love it. It was not the camp that she was hoping for. And when I picked her up, she's like, "Well, it was the Timu version of the camp I wanted to go to." And that like made me laugh so much. And I mean, even she understands
Oh
this
my
concept
gosh.
of like, you know, cheaply made and not authentic. So how do you see that impacting, the future of these fast fashion brands? Are they going to still be able to exist? Like, what are you seeing? I see so much fashion that's like even beyond just the clothing or the materials, it's like I feel like people are just creating like things that look the same. Like it's so hard to even shop right now.
I think that there's always a there's always going to be a world of uh, price driven, cheap, fast fixes. You're like
Yeah,
your sugar fix fashion is
I like
there
that.
and has a consumer. I
That's good.
oh
I love that. Your sugar fix fashion.
oh
Like
yeah,
that is really good. It's addictive, isn't it?
it's not good for you, but
Yeah.
you're just like one more Oreo, one more.
Yeah.
It's
One more tank top, one more, yeah.
it's it's a real challenge. And a lot of those companies have these kind of premise, facade of investing in sustainability, but they're they're just meeting regulation, and I think regulations needed to put some accountability on them to at least raise the bare minimum requirements for those companies. Like they're having a massive impact, and
Yeah.
just because something's cheap doesn't mean it can't be sustainable. Like there's a lot of circular solutions that could be implemented to take the stuff, make it from responsible feedstocks, make it from recycled things, make it, give it an end, give it a second life. um, it, if you're talking cheap, I mean, I think the rise of secondhand fashion is a good counteraction to that, because also cheap, very unique and personalized, and unfortunately, I think still being used in a disposable manner by consumers. Like you kind of are still just buying the one look for the next 2 or 3 months, like your next fix, kind of. But at least you're getting it from um, a more responsible place than hey, I made it specifically just for this, for you to wear once, kind of
Yeah.
mentality.
Yeah. This is such a big problem. And I wonder too, like, how do you change the hearts and minds of consumers? I mean, where do you see, first you have to work with the designers, of course, and then the systems, and then the ways of manufacturing. And I just admire you for diving into this problem because it's so multi-layered. And where do you like how do you keep yourself from getting overwhelmed and discouraged? Because I'm thinking about it and I'm feeling overwhelmed even in just the 2 minutes that I was thinking about the pipeline of products like to consumer.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's hard, and there's days that it's a total bummer because it's the volume of it is real. But there's been some interesting changes in the conversations I've seen as I go to kind of industry events, and bringing in psychologists to talk about the consumer mindset is something
Okay.
I hadn't seen. Uh, I hadn't seen before. And I was at an event probably 6 or 7 months ago, and it was so interesting to hear the new people kind of joining the battle and coming in. It's not like apparel companies have those in house, but when you bring someone in like that to talk about how to shift perception, how to shift behavior, it's really a behavior thing. It's how we shop and what we shop for. And there is, I think, a thread of responsibility for a company to be cognizant of the impact on behaviors. It's
Yeah.
it's not, because there's a relationship there between you're selling and how they're buying. So I think it's going to be interesting. But it's back to optimism. I think that a lot of people want to change. You want to do the good thing. That's, I think, I have that belief. It's
Yeah.
how to do it. I think a lot of people feel like, well, what can I even do? You know? And if a brand unlocks how to make a customer feel good about their purchase and, have reasons to believe that, you're giving your consumer something really powerful, like you're hitting their sense of good.
Right. Not just that dopamine rush when you order something on TikTok and then it arrives. I think because we're also so conditioned now for when that package like drops on the front porch. I was at my sister's house and she got something delivered and I'm like, "Oh, what is it?" like like I want the dopamine hit from whatever you just got.
Yeah.
So I think that's really interesting that you brought in a psychologist because I do think there is an addictive piece to this too that just didn't exist before when it came to fashion
Oh yeah.
and accessories.
Yeah. And I mean, gamification too. I think that, a lot of those retailers are kind of just getting you to keep swiping and going for different discounts and kind of unlocking another layer to the human buy game, um, which
Right.
can
It's
be
like that
dangerous,
Las Vegas
you know?
reward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. You like swipe and then the thing shows up and then you're like, okay, well, it was fine. But it didn't quite hit the mark. It's shaped kind of weird. It doesn't feel that good on my skin. And then you like, well, maybe this one will do the trick.
Yep.
And you just keep going. So yeah, how are you? And especially like when there's the bottom line for your, so it's not just actually changing the brains of the consumer, it's also changing the brains of the shareholders and the CEOs too. So I am encouraged to hear you say that maybe the regulations will be the thing that forces these conversations because I don't know what will.
Well, regulations are needed, but there's a lot of work. It's not like they're just magically going to happen, right? Like I think brands need to partner. I think companies need to partner to push for regulations that they can work in that will make sense because they need to be part of the conversation. Like we all need to be invested in this so that we're getting something that a system we can work in, right? Like we're talking about systems design
Yeah.
and getting something that lasts, not just for the next 2 years, but something that makes sense. And I think it's really, really, really important to get the right people in the conversation and also to be working ahead of regulation, working with partners, working within. I mean, if I was a brand owner right now, I would be working really, really closely with my supply chain to, instead of kind of, been this like, I think this mindset of like, well, if you don't do it for us, we can go somewhere else for cheaper.
Right.
That's got to go away. You need to really be partners with the people in your supply chain and have a full kind of invested, shared responsibility in making stuff. And that would help everyone. You'd be invested in their workers. You'd be able to have access to tier 3 emissions. You'd have more transparency into the full range impacts of your product. And also have this. So you'd have tier 3. You would have shared accountability, and you would have resilience against everything that's going to change. You'd have a partner who say something happens, tariffs go up again. You've got someone you can rely on. Like you're working together. You don't have to like lose it all in the wind. And there's so much panic right now, and there's
Yeah.
this just paralysis on, well, we got to do this, like reactionary, because no one has those relationships. Some people do.
Yeah.
The smart people do, and the people that have
Yeah.
been working on this have already kind of made those crossroads and made those pathways to have a stronger, more resilient organization. And it's, I think, a really good model for people to be looking at and trying to emulate to kind of safeguard themselves for the next whatever's coming.
Yeah. So do you see yourself as doing more consulting work after this or with companies and brands? Are you hoping, I know you said you wanted to be in a team, but are you like, I just got to get through February? Are you starting to see like, where you might go?
Uh, I'm always open to consulting. I think that there's something fun there, and it's especially right now pretty dynamic in, people aren't necessarily ready to open the budget for a full-time person. They but they have projects they need someone to come in and help with. And that's
Yeah.
always going to be interesting and exciting. Um, and if I have the time, I'd do it with as many people as I could,
Yeah.
because that is also a sense of a team. For stability with a family, it would be nice, I think, post February or now to take on something more focused. But my options are open, and I'm kind of rolling with what comes on that one.
Yeah. That's really hard to do. So another thing I've been talking to people about, and I don't know if it's just where we are in life, but I just feel like everyone has sort of found something to keep them sane. So whether it's like tap dancing or painting again or writing poetry, I said tap dancing because another person that I had on the show last week had just rediscovered tap dancing. Or I don't know, whatever. Like, are you finding it like new ways to stay grounded or stay in the moment or to like keep that optimism going? What are you doing for you?
So I definitely I love running, and I make sure that I'm doing that a few times a week. But a couple new ones. I think the most important one is my whole day changes if I don't get some time to myself in the morning to kind of like read a devotion, kind of set my intention for the day, um, ready myself, before the chaos starts and the drop off and the pickup line and the lunches and that quiet time in the morning. It really, really, really helps me kind of set off in the best manner possible, and keeping time for creative pursuits. So yeah, I could say it's painting because I've been doing a lot of painting.
Oh, that looks
My house
great.
is full of my paintings right now.
I love that.
And it's a balance because it's something that's not digital. It's something that's just art you're creating with your hands, and it's not about being good. It's about making something um, that unlocks for me a part of myself that I really love, and it makes me feel confident in myself when I know I'm putting something out there that's creative.
I love that. I find that that is so important too because I think like for the longest time I felt like it had to be good because I don't know what it was, but for the last 15 years or so it was we had to commodify everything. It was like, oh, well, you're painting, then you should be selling it or you should be doing X, Y, or Z. And it's like, no, just do it. Just do it for fun. Like, let's take our time back.
Yes, yes. And it's if you're doing it for the purpose of it being sold, you're not doing it for art. And I think
No.
there's a distinction in making like the flow of it,
Yeah.
getting
No, that's
a creative
true.
mindset for the art of it.
Do you think that having that creative mindset naturally made it a little bit easier to step out of like the prescribed path into basically the unknown?
I think, well, I guess first of all, I think everyone's creative. I think it's a piece of our personalities, like a skill. Like we either flex it or we don't flex it. And in terms of starting a new path, I don't know if it was creativity so much as a readiness to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Um, because some people are not ready to be uncomfortable. And it's almost like a switch to kind of understand, are you actually ready for change? Can you change some things in your life and see what happens? Because we don't know the outcome, but let's open a new door anyway.
Yeah. And you're investing time and resources. And yeah, I think that's really good because I know there have been moments where I thought I was ready for a change, but then, yeah, the discomfort comes. And then you think, oh, well, then this must not be it because it should just be easy or it should just flow or things should just line up.
Yeah, yeah. Once you kind of get some bumps in the road, you kind of give up. But like, there's gonna be bumps in the road, and like those are actually kind of a really good indicator that you're doing the right thing because you're bumping up against things that will make the idea stronger. Um,
Yeah. I like that. What are you the most excited about right now? Both in what you're doing and just also in your day-to-day life. I'm like the most excited that my kids are going back to school soon. Not in like 22 days, not that I'm counting.
I am definitely excited my kids are going back to school, mostly because they want to see their friends and they're excited about it. And that makes me happy. But I'm really excited about this project I'm working on right now. I think that there's something fun in the very simple pleasure of knowing that you're putting your skills to use for someone else. That's like making them happy. It's working. It's like impact. I always seek impact. And if I can do something that makes some system better, I feel like I'm fulfilling. It's very fulfilling to kind of see something plug in. And with this project, I can see the impact it's having, and that's really exciting.
That is really exciting. That is really exciting, actually. So are you implementing it in the real world yet, or you
Not
can
yet.
just see? Okay, you can see the
It's in work.
potential. Yeah, that's really cool. Well, before we wrap up, because I've taken almost an hour, is there anything else I'm trying let you feel like if someone, like I said, was listening and they're on the fence, they feel like maybe it's time to shift. Maybe it's a forced shift. There are a lot of layoffs going on, and the easy thing to do would be to just get right on LinkedIn and polish up that resume. What would you say to them?
I think it's a scary time, and I think even if you're not getting a kind of the late. I think people have a lot of fear right now anyway. Of what's going to happen in the next, maybe not this year, but 3 years from now. There seems to be a lot of hesitation and anxiety, and my advice would just be, don't worry about that. You need to be worrying about what you can bring, what your purpose is, and what you want to achieve. And then it doesn't matter if you're laid off or if, the environment changes, because then you find the environment that fits what your goal is. Because I think the beauty of humans is that everyone kind of has this incredible mix of talents and skills and creativity to be flexed. AI is a tool to help you discover that, but it really can't replace it. There's a very special human quality of creative resilience, and I think if you unlock that for yourself into what your purpose is, you're going to be just fine. And you just focus on that and go ahead.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right on that. Because you're right. There's nothing is guaranteed. So you might as well be finding what you're supposed to be doing with your time here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me. This was really great. I always like hearing what you're up to. I've been so curious to get an update on your program because I just know that the next year and a half, 2 years, you're going to be doing something really cool. And I just can't wait to see what that is.
I hope so. I thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Like I said, thanks for sharing where you're at in your journey.